to walk through today 5 different ways that you get 3 listings in the next 30 days. And I'm going to be honest with you, you can get a lot more than that by just doing these simple things that I'm going to teach you. And by the way, you can do it in less than 20 hours a week. Or I should say at about 20 hours a week. And if you want to just get the 3, you can do it in a lot less than 20 hours a week. But if you want to get a lot more than 3 listings, in the next 30 days, then you're going to put in just a little bit more time, maybe 30 hours a week, maybe. But I'll tell you that it would not be very difficult for you to get 5 to 10 listings. And Michelle, welcome. Glad to see you here. Okay, so that being said, what I need to know is I need to know where you guys are at, okay? Because that's going to impact how I teach this to you today and which strategies I teach you today. Okay, so I need to know what tier you're in. So let me give you the tiers. And when you hear the tier that you're in, I want you to type in tier whatever into the chat. Okay, this is really important. So please, please, please help me with this. And Michelle, the sound is double talking over. That's going to be on your end, Michelle. I'm not sure why that is. You might need to turn the volume down on your speakers, maybe put some headphones on. I'm not sure what's going on there. But that's that double talk there. That echo is going to be on your end. Okay, so that being said, Tier 1 is agents who close 0 to 25 transactions per year. Tier 1 is 0 to 25 transactions per year. If you're in Tier 1, type in Tier 1 right now. Tier 2 is 25 to 75 transactions per year. If you've closed 25 to 75 transactions in your best year, type in Tier 2 now. Or you can even just put the number 2 in. That's fine too. If you have closed 75 to 150 transactions in your best year, that's tier 3. Type that in. 75 to 150 is tier 3. Okay. And 150 to 250 is tier 4. Is anybody in tier 4 or higher? Let's just ask that right now. Just say, type in more. So if you've done more than 150 transactions in your first year, or sorry, in your best year, type in more in the chat. So I know that we've got some people that are doing more than that. Sounds like most everybody is in tiers 1 and tier 2, and we've got one person in tier 3. That helps me out a lot. Tier 2. Okay, good. Yeah, that's helpful, Anna. Appreciate that. Okay, so guys, let's just talk about this. So first and foremost, I'll walk you through who I am in just a minute. I think most of you know me though, and if you don't know me, then I'll tell you a little bit about me in just a second. But I want to start with really the only 3 things that are going to move the needle in this business. Let's see if we can get this thing pointed down a little so you can see more on that screen. All right, so let's talk about the 3 things that are going to move the needle in your business. First and foremost is lead generation, okay? And there are lots and lots and lots of ways to do lead generation. I'm going to walk you through several of them today. The ones I'm going to walk you through today, because you guys are in tiers 1 and tier 2 predominantly, I'm going to walk you through stuff today that doesn't cost a lot of money, okay? I'm not going to walk you through things where you got to go write a big check to get business rolling in. Instead, I'm going to tell you about some things today that just with a little bit of your time and effort, you can bring transactions in without having a lot, or even in some cases without having any money. Okay. And guys, this works all over the country in every type of market, whether you're in a residential, like a neighborhood market where, mom and pop are raising their kids, or if you're in a resort market, or if you're in a beach market, like this works everywhere in US and Canada. And frankly, it works in a lot of other countries too. We have a lot of clients in other countries as well. But lead generation is going to be key number 1. If you guys don't have a great lead generation strategy, it's going to be tough to survive in this business. Now, the good news is those of you that have a great lead generation strategy are well on your way to doing very, very well. And frankly, when this is very consistent over a long period of time, making money becomes very easy. The big thing, though, everybody thinks they've got a lead generation problem, but most people have a lead follow-up problem, okay? So lead follow-up is going to be the key. I'll tell you, for most of the people on this call, you have leads in your database right now. And those leads are not generating the kind of income that you need them to. And the reason why is because your lead follow-up game is not on point. I'm going to go deep on lead follow-up today. And I'm going to help you get more, not just out of new leads coming in, but and how to get new leads coming in, but I'm also going to help you get a lot more out of the leads that you already have. Okay. And then finally is lead conversion. All right. So once we get these leads, we got to follow up with them, nurture them over a long period of time. Once we get to the point where they're ready to transact, we need to convert those leads into appointments and into transactions. Okay. And Michelle, I'm not sure what's going on there. You might try logging out and logging back in. That might help, Michelle. I'm not really sure why you're getting that echo. It's really strange. Is anybody else getting an echo? If you're getting an echo, type in echo. If you're not getting an echo, type in nope. Okay, so I'm getting some no's already. All right, so all right, appreciate that, guys. So that's Michelle. It's got to be on your end. So maybe just log out, log back in. Maybe that'll solve it for you. Thank you, guys. All right, so that being said, back onto lead generation, guys. Lead generation strategies for tier one and tier two are different than what we do in tiers three and higher. Starting at about, late tier two, early tier three, we can start writing checks to get leads coming in. The problem is in tiers one and tier two, most people don't have a lot of money. They got more time than money. So guess what we do? We do things that take our time but not take our money. And so I'm going to give you 5 easy ways of 5 lead generation tools to start with. I'll give you more later, but I'm going to give you 5 lead generation tools right off the bat that can easily generate you enough business to get 3 listings every single month in less than 20 hours a month. So write these down and we're going to start with this, okay? All right, Greg, that's a good point. You might get it. Thank you for that in the chat, Greg. All right, guys, write these down. Here's the big 5, okay? It's FSBOs, expireds, cold calls, open houses, sphere of influence. Again, write those down. FSBOs, expireds, cold calls, open houses, sphere of influence. Look at that. Camille was on it, on top of it. She's got that in the chat for you. Those are the big 5. All 5 of those are affordable. Most of them are free. They're very easy, especially if you know exactly what to do with each one. I'm going to walk you through each one, and well, not each one, but I'm going to walk you through several of them. And I'm going to show you with those exactly how to get more right now without spending a lot of money and without a lot of effort, okay? So before we do, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I just want to give you my background really quick because some of you are thinking, why should I even listen to this guy? So for those of you that don't know who I am, first of all, I really believe that if you want to climb to the top of Mount Everest, you need a guide who's been to the top of Mount Everest before. And so it cracks me up that there's still people paying coaches to teach them how to sell real estate. And the coach themselves has either never sold real estate or sold very little real estate. And I'm not going to mention any names like Prime Buffini. Yeah, sorry, allergies today. I'm not going to mention any names, but I will say this, guys. At the end of the day, my claim to fame is at one point in time, for a very long period of time, actually, I was the #1 real estate agent on planet Earth. I was closing consistently 120 to 180 transactions every single month at a time when number 2 and number 3 combined were doing about half that. And by the way, number 2 and number 3, great agents, really, really solid people, good human beings, good friends of mine. And you might even recognize the names: Mike, Reese, Jay Kinder. 2 amazing agents. If you're an EXP agent, you probably recognize those names. And by the way, we're brand agnostic. We work with every company out there. So I'm not, this is not some pitch for a brokerage or anything like that. But I just want you guys to understand that there were things that I was doing that were different. And those guys, number 2 and number 3 were smarter than me. They're better looking than me. They're better marketers than me. They're better salespeople than me. They had all these things going for them. Why was I doing so much better? Type into your chat. Why do you think I was #1 on the planet when there were smarter, better looking, brighter people, better at marketing and sales and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera than I was? What do you think? And tenacity, these guys are very tenacious. So I do like tenacity. Tenacity is a very important key to this. I'm glad you guys brought tenacity up. That's a very important piece. But what else do you think? Okay, I got follow-up. These guys were good on their follow-up game, and I'm seeing consistency. A couple of you typing consistency. Strategy was not it. They had great strategies. I had great strategies. We all had great strategies. But the consistency, now we're getting somewhere, and I want you guys to write this down. I hope you guys have pen and paper to take notes today because we're going to be on for about 2 hours total, and you're going to want to take a lot of notes. Okay, so here's what I want you to write down first. Habits dictate outcomes. Habits dictate outcomes. Write that down. Habits dictate outcomes. Guys, this is mission critical. We have to understand this. Okay, so here's the deal. I just had better habits. I got up every day. I just did the deal. And by the way, what's really cool is you guys can develop great habits too. Anybody that wants to can do exactly what I did. All you have to do is have the right habits in place. Case in point, some of you know my son, Austin, right? Austin got into real estate, and what did he do? The very first thing he did was he formed a little team. He got his little buddies together, and I say little because they're all kind of short and they're all, under 21 years old, right? And so it was kind of the little team, right? They were all supposed to show up January 1st, 2022 at what was it, 6:30 a.m. They had agreed to show up. And what we were going to do is we were going to make that day one for their team. We were going to teach them scripts, dialogues, teach them exactly how to make the calls, who to call, what to say, how to convert them to appointments, all that stuff. Well, guess how many of those kids showed up at 6:30 January 1st, 2022? Yeah, you're not wrong. It was one, and his name is Austin. Okay. He's the only one that showed up. Nobody else on the team showed up. So, what do you think happened to those guys? None of them are even with the team today. Now, I will tell you this, though. Austin, he decided, hey, look, I'm going to make the calls anyway. So he showed up, he made the calls, and I'm telling you guys, even though we gave him the best scripts, and I'm not kidding you, these are the greatest scripts ever. Everybody wants our scripts. They're the very best. There's never been any scripts like them. Yeah, you know. All right, that being said, we gave him the best scripts. We taught him how to use them, and he butchered those scripts all day long. He was terrible on the phone. I mean, horrible. This kid was verbally vomiting on everybody he talked to, okay? 19-year-old kid looks and sounds like he's still in puberty, and yet here he is making the calls every single day, right? So day one, he makes calls. He was supposed to call for 4 hours. He ends up calling for 8 hours because he had no appointments that day, had nothing better to do, right? Might as well keep making calls. Think about how bad this kid was on the phone. How many appointments? I want you to type in the chat. How many appointments do you think this kid set in 8 hours? Just as terrible as he sucked. How many appointments do you think he even set that day? What do you think? Type it in. I got 0. I got 3. Okay, remember he was on the phone for 8 hours. 10, Greg, man, that's optimistic. Holy cow, 5, 4. There's another 10. Oh my gosh. Well, you guys are actually pretty close. He scheduled 12 appointments day one. 12 appointments that kid got day one. And he was terrible. And I promise you, he sucks worse than you could possibly ever suck, okay? Or he did then. He sucked then. He's phenomenal today. Probably the best guy in real estate on the phone today. But on that day, he was terrible. And I'm saying this because I want you guys to understand that as bad as you think you are, you're not as bad as that kid was. As much as you think you suck, you don't suck as bad as he did. So guess what? If he can do it, you can do it. You want 12 appointments today? Get on the phone. It's that easy. And I'll tell you, we'll give you the scripts. We'll teach you exactly who to call, what to say, how to get them to set an appointment with you. Now, I will tell you, over the next few days, he went on these appointments, and out of 12 appointments, believe it or not, 11 actually showed up. Okay. And that's really unusual because, guys, I'm going to tell you that normally you're going to get about a 40% no-show rate on your appointment. Write that down. You'll have about 40% of your appointments that you set will not show up. That's okay. Don't feel bad about that because here's the deal. It's just a numbers game, right? So if you need more appointments, just set more appointments so that you can get more listing appointments that show up, and then you'll get more listings, which gets you more sales. That being said, he goes on these 11 appointments that showed up, and guess how many listed with him? What do you think? Type your number in. How many do you think out of those 11 appointments, how many of those people do you think actually listed their house with him? Okay, I got 3. Somebody just typed in 7, 2. Okay, all right. Anybody else? I'm curious as to how many of you guys think you got. Nobody's typed, not only 3 of you have typed an answer. And here we go. Now we're getting a couple more. 2. All right. Here's the bottom line. All, that's optimistic, right? Kelly's actually the closest. He got 0. 0. Okay. Got 0 of those appointments. Now I love it. DC's like, yeah, he got 11. I've heard Austin, right? Yeah. Well, here's the reality. Austin is phenomenal today. He wasn't good then. And he was pretty disappointed when he got 0 out of those 11 appointments that showed up. And I would be too. But what do you think happened? He calls us up. He calls me and he calls his coach up. And we both told him, we said, hey, and his coach was one of our Club Wealth coaches, of course. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, I own a company called Club Wealth. We're the #1 coaching and consulting company in the team and brokerage space. We also coach solo agents. So that being said, we work with people from every brokerage out there. And so he got literally zero appointments. We told him, we said, look, you got to do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And you got to just keep doing this every day, 5 days a week. I want you on the phone 4 hours a day. And he was pretty bummed out about that. But guess what he did? He did it anyway. And because he did it, guess what happened for him that first year? I want you to write these numbers down. This is pretty incredible. So his first year, just him, not counting his team, and this is his first year as a real estate agent, 97 listings. Average sales price, $600,000. Average term, so all those were on 12-month listings. All but, I think it was, I want to say it was all but 4 of them he got at 5% to the listing office. And I'm going to show you how to do that today too. That's the very last thing I'm going to teach you today is how to get more. I'm going to literally show you how to double your commissions and have your clients love you for it. Okay. And so he literally got them all at, or all but 4 of them at 5% to the listing office. And I know that a lot of you are struggling just to get listings at 2.5%. Well, why are you struggling? Because you're doing it wrong. That's all. You just don't know how to do it right. I'm going to teach you how to do it right today. And then what we're going to do is with Club Wealth, like let me back up. This is not going to be a big sales pitch for Club Wealth. Okay, guys, I'm just going to let you know, I'm going to give you all the stuff today. Okay. You're going to walk out of here in the next, what do we got? We got about an hour and 40 minutes left. Okay. So in the next hour and 40 minutes, you're going to walk out of here with the secret sauce. You're going to walk out of here with exactly what you need to be able to accomplish this. Now that said, if you would like us to go deeper with you, then we'll teach you at Club Wealth. We will teach you everything you need to know to build the business of your dreams. We'll teach you everything you know to be able to make more money. At least, I'm telling you right now, if you want to make 7 figures in this business, we'll show you how to get there. We have a very good track record of helping people get there without killing themselves in the process, right? In other words, without working 24/7, without working like crazy hours, we'll show you how to get there. All right. That said, if you want someone to do it with you, in other words, if you're looking for an organization that can literally set appointments for you and make it so that literally they do all the front end, all the back end, all you got to do is you show up every morning at 7:30 on a huddle. They say, hey, we got 2 or 3 appointments for you today. Go check your inbox. We emailed you all the stuff. Go hit print. You hit print. You go on the appointment. You get the stuff signed. You bring it back. You hand it back off. You're done. You don't have to do anything from there. You get paid like a normal agent. Dude, I'm telling you right now, I will show you exactly which organization you should be working with to do that, that literally does that for their agents on a daily basis. In the meantime, let me show you how to do this. Okay. So we're going to go back to those big 5. Okay. So, and actually, let me back up on Austin. Year 1 was 97 listings. Year 2, 124 listings. Year 3, 168 listings. And guys, I'm just telling you, if he can do it, you can do it. And by the way, why were his numbers going up every year? His habits stayed the same. He did the exact same things every day, 4 days a week, or excuse me, 5 days a week for 4 hours a day, right? But the numbers kept going up because there's people that he got that came into his system in year 1 that he just kept following up and nurturing, and eventually in year 2 or later in year 3, they ended up listing their house with him, doing business with him, right? Guys, the same thing will be true for you. We've got to build that database. Another thing that I want to help you do is I want you to teach your clients. I want to help you, instead of having a whole bunch of people that are going to do one transaction every, let's call it 10 to 14 years, which is the national average. Why don't we get our clients doing 1 to 4 transactions every year? Think about that for a second. If you just had 10 people that were doing 1 to 4 transactions a year with you, how big a difference would that make in your business? For most of you, that would double your business. Okay. For some of you, it would just be a massive, might be a 50% increase, right? But what if we get 20 of those people? And guys, I'm telling you, I had 150 people like that. Actually, it was 125 to 150 at any given time that were buying 1 to 4 houses a year for me. And that was only a portion of my business. You can do that too. And one of the ways, I want you to write this down. This is beyond the 5 that I just gave you and the ones that we're going to be going over. But let me give you just a little bonus idea here. And that is, I want you to teach 3 seminars a week. Okay. I want you to do a buyer seminar on Tuesdays. Write this down. Buyer seminar on Tuesdays, seller seminar on Wednesdays, investor seminar on Thursdays. I'll give it to you again. Buyer seminar on Tuesdays, seller seminar on Wednesdays, investor seminar on Thursdays. Now, I want you to do this in your market, wherever you're at. And then next week, I want you to drive 30, 45 minutes away, and I want you to do it there. And then the next week, I want you to drive 30, 45 minutes in a different direction and do it there. And I want you to do this. And then every quarter, I want you to come back to your main area. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, but Michael, I don't work all those areas. Well, that's why you're broke, Cupcake. I got news for you. Listen, guys, if you want to make more money, you have got to expand your area. If you think you're going to be the neighborhood expert, guys, that's why you're broke. Okay. If you would stop thinking neighborhood expert and start thinking broader, you'll have a way better opportunity to do a lot more business with a lot more people. Okay. The days of the local real estate expert are over. Okay. Unless you live in a resort area, it's possible if you live in a resort area, you might be able to do really well in a very small area. But other than that, for the vast majority of agents out there, it's very unlikely. Okay. All right. So that being said, what's going to happen is at these classes, and by the way, you'll notice that I called it a buyer class and not a first-time buyer class. We're not looking for first-time buyers, okay? They're a pain in the neck. And I'm not saying we won't work with them and if we find them. What I'm saying is that we're not going to deliberately go out and try and find first-time buyers. Why? Because man, they are the biggest pain in the neck. They're the ones that get the cold feet the most. They get buyer's remorse the most. They're the ones that always want to bring dad with them to the inspection, and he's going to be a pain in the neck, right? And so at the end of the day, we want to look for move up buyers because again, now we're going to be moving into higher price points simply by looking for move up clients. We're moving into higher price points, and we've got a client that's a lot easier to work with. Okay. All right. So that said, let's jump into lead generation on those big five. So FSBO's expired, cold calls, open houses, sphere of influence. Okay, I'll give it to one more time. FSBO's expired, cold calls, open houses, sphere of influence. Let's talk about a couple of those. Which of those five do you think has been the most effective in the last decade and a half? Type into the chat. Which one do you think's been the most effective in the last decade and a half? Let's see what you guys are thinking. Okay, I get expireds. Expireds are on fire right now. I will say that. Expireds are great. That's not the answer, but they're great. Okay, FSBOs also very good right now. Expireds are actually the best right now. They're super on fire right now. Absentee, they're good. Those are good. That's not one of our big five though. SOI, everybody wants it to be SOI, right? Oh, but my friends are just going to refer me because I'm so cute, right? Like, I got news for you. It's probably not going to happen for most of us, okay? Now, can we get more out of our sphere? Yes, I'm going to show you how to double the productivity in your sphere in just a moment. And it's really easy to do, okay? But it's not sphere of influence. Guys, it's open houses, okay? I want you to think about this. In the last decade and a half, in the last decade and a half, nothing has been more on fire than open houses. So I want you guys to type into your chat. How many of you, just if you have done an open house in the last 30 days, I want you to type in the number of people that showed up to that open house in the chat. Okay, if you didn't do one, type in 0. But I want to know how many people showed up to your last open house that you did. Okay, type it into the chat. Let's see how many people you guys are getting out to your open houses. 4, 7, 12, 0, 0. Okay. 0, 4, 0. Okay. These are the honest numbers. Thank you for this. 5 just on Sunday. Good, David. 0. Okay. Guys, I'm going to fix this for you right now. You should be getting 25, 10 open houses is how I got my business up and running. Good for you, Janae. That's awesome. I'm telling you, you guys should be averaging between 25 and 150 people to every open house. Now, I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, it's really not that hard. In fact, your actual average should be right at about 45 people per open house. 45. Okay, you could do we could say like 45 to 47. 45, 47. You get it. All right. That being said, check this out. So 45 people, how am I going to get them there? Okay. First of all, there's 21 different things we do. I'm not going to give you all 21 right now. If you're coaching one-on-one with us, I want you to get the 21 point checklist from your coach here at Club Wealth. If you're not coaching with us right now, that's okay. I want you to go to our website. We don't have the most up-to-date list on the website, but the list on the website is solid, and it's going to get you, it's going to get you to 25 to 45 people all day long out to your open houses. So our website is clubwealth.com/blog. Go to clubwealth.com/blog and then look for the massive open houses post. Okay. All right. Now, Here's what I want you to do. First and foremost, we got to pick the right house. Do not pick an entry level house. Okay. Entry level houses bring entry level buyers. We just talked about those guys. What a pain in the neck. We're not looking for those guys. We want move up buyers. Okay. And not only that, but when we do that, when we pick a move up house, guess what? We've actually automatically increased our average sales price. Furthermore, everybody that comes through that open house has what? They got a house to sell. Now, if I'm really smart, instead of selling that house for them, guess what I'll do? Instead of selling that house for them, smart agents will help them rent that house out. Teach them how to rent that house out because the first rental is the hardest by far. Okay. And by the way, it's a lot easier if I can take somebody who has a house that would make a good rental and instead of selling it for them, I just get them to keep it. We can do a HELOC, right? You can get with Madison, by the way. For those of you that don't know Madison, my daughter, she's a national lender, handles every state except for New York and Massachusetts. And by the way, I'll show you how to get paid on mortgage here in a little bit. So every time you send your lender a loan, you can get paid on it. If that's interesting to you, write get paid on mortgage in the chat. If you want to learn how to do that, right? Get paid on mortgage in the chat. All right, so check this out. So what's going to happen is we're gonna hold these open houses in a move up neighborhood. We're going to get the person to not sell their house. Instead, now we get them to rent that thing out, do a HELOC, do a second mortgage, do a refinance to take that cash out to use to buy the next one, right? The one that you're going to sell them to move into. The first house now, you're going to teach them how to rent it out. And here's the thing. Once we get that first one out of the way, now it's pretty easy for them. So guess what? We just created somebody that's going to buy 1 to 4 houses per year from you. Guys, if you think about this, it's literally that easy. This is how I've done it. There's many agents across the country have done this. You're going to help them get rich. You're going to help them build a fortune. And in the process, you're going to get rich also. All right. So that being said, then we want to make sure that we're no more than a half mile to a mile from a major shopping area. Write that down. No more than a half mile to a mile from a major shopping area. No more than 2 turns off the main road. See, we need traffic and we don't want them to get lost, right? Okay, then I'm going to give you 4 things, okay? Write these down. These are 4 things that you can do to get more people out to your open house. And I'll tell you, number 4, you guys are all doing already, okay? Number 4 is all the online marketing you're doing. You're going to put on Zillow, realtor.com, MLS. You're going to put it on social media. You're going to do all your online marketing, okay? And that's great and that's important, okay? But it's not what's going to move the needle the most. Here's where you're going to really move the needle. And you're not going to like this. It's not easy, okay? It's going to be a little bit of work, but I promise it works, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to door knock and call through the entire neighborhood, okay? Door knock and call through the entire neighborhood. Now, you're going to do this with about 200 doors per open house, okay? Now, I'm telling you, it only takes a day to do this, right? So you can do your calls in the morning. You can bang out 200 calls in the morning, and then you're going to do door knocking. You're going to knock on the rest of those doors in the afternoon, okay? It's a great thing to do like on a Saturday or whatever. You can do it any day of the week, though. Don't feel bad about doing it any day of the week. That being said, now the number one thing that we're going to do to get more people out to our open house, what is it? Type into your chat. What do you think the number one thing we can do to get more people to our open house is? Let's see what you guys come up with. I got signs. Okay, anybody else? Invite the neighbors. Yep, that's what we're gonna do with the door knocking and the calling through the neighborhood. Absolutely. Now, we love nosy neighbors, by the way, because guess what? They're future buyers and sellers, and they're gonna move up to an even higher price point, right? So I love those guys. But yes, signs is the key. Now, I want you guys to type into the chat. How many signs did you put up at your last open house? How many signs did you put up at your last open house? Type it in. Let's see. I got 2. I got 8. I got 4, 2, 10. Wow. 6, 4. Anybody else? 5. How many signs did you put up at the last open house you did? 3. Oh, and look at this. 30 Sam did. All right, well, watch this. Sam, you're the closest. Here's the actual number that you need to do. And you guys are going to freak out when I say this, but here's what you need to be doing. You need 50 signs per open house. That's 50 signs per open house, okay? Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, but Michael, if I put up that many signs, the city's going to take my signs. Who freaking cares? First of all, we're not talking about A boards here, okay? We're talking about just corrugated signs with a stake. Okay, it can be cheap. You could go down to Home Depot and get the flimsy plastic ones, and that would be better than spending a bunch of money on A boards. And here's the thing, though. Reality is, for really nice 18 by 24 corrugated signs, you're going to be $2.50 a sign, right? Now, if the city were to take all of your signs, let's say it costs you $5 between the sign and the stake and the screws to put in it, whatever. Let's say it costs you $5 a sign and they took every one of your signs. Who cares? That's like 250 bucks. Who cares, right? Write this down. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Is the juice worth the squeeze? Guys, here's the reality. Signs get attention. And by the way, you want them to get a ton more attention? Put two helium balloons on 25% of your signs. Yeah, two helium balloons on 25% of your signs. But I'm going to tell you right now, putting up 50 signs is the key to getting more people to your open house. And here's what's crazy. Most of you guys, you'll go spend, 5, 10 minutes putting 2 or 3 signs up, and then you'll sit in a house for 3 hours and hope somebody shows up. What you ought to be doing is go spend an hour, hour and a half putting up signs, and then go sit in the house for 2 hours and make a bunch of money. Okay. And yeah, it's 50 is the actual number. And I can't read your name. I don't have my glasses on. Let's see if I can get this right. Neheshia, is that right? Did I say it right? Neheshia? Hopefully I said that right. All right. So that being said, we need 50 signs per open house. Okay. Minimum. That's really, really critical. All right. That being said, we're making progress. All right. All right. So we've got these people to our open house. Now, I don't have time today because I want to be respectful of everybody's time and I got a lot to cover today. I don't have time today to go over all of the things you can do inside the open house to get them to sign a buyer agency agreement with you and start working with you. Here's what I do want you to do, though. We have an event coming up in November, the 3rd and 4th of November. It's called our Business Strategy Mastermind Conference, okay? There will be about 300 agents there. The average agent in that room does over 200 transactions a year. Now, I want you to, if at all possible, I want you to find a way to get a ticket to that event. Normally, they're 997 bucks. Okay. And by the way, worth every penny of it. But when you get your ticket today, if you guys go on the website, get yourself a ticket today, we will reduce your ticket price from $997. We'll give it to you for $497. And when you go to the event, there's a class that I want you to go to on open houses. Okay. And there's like 30 or 40 or 50, I can't remember. There's a ton of, there's all these different time slots, and each time slot has anywhere from 4 to 5 different classes you can choose from. I want you to make sure that you go to the one on open houses. And in that class, you're going to learn, it's taught by an agent. It's not by some coach that's paid to do it or anything like that. It's taught by an agent just like you guys that just happens to be having a ton of success at open houses. And what they're going to teach you is how to convert the people at the open house, not just how to get more there, but also how to convert them and get them to sign a buyer agency agreement, because that's the key, isn't it? That's why we do this. And by the way, don't worry about selling that house. We're not there to sell that house. We're there to get buyers and sellers. Okay. We're there to get leads, and we need to get those leads doing business with us. Understand your reason for being there. Very important. All right. So that said, open houses are really a great lead source. All right. Let's talk about sphere of influence for a minute. Okay. Sphere of influence can be a great lead source, but most of you are not utilizing your sphere of influence properly. You're not putting the time, effort, energy in that it takes to really get value out of your sphere. So let's talk about, how can I get more out of my sphere? First of all, I want you to write down how many people are in your sphere of influence. Now, by definition, that means how many people are in your database that if you taught them how and reminded them, you're pretty sure that they would do business with you or refer you at some point. How many of those do you have? Okay. I want you to, in fact, type that into the chat right now. Let's see how many people you guys have in your sphere. I'm curious what your numbers are. Okay. The national average, by the way, is 250. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people, they don't realize how many they have. For example, you might be thinking, oh, you know what? I've got this gal over here, but I'm not going to put her in my sphere because she's got a brother, mother, sister, cousin that's in the business. She wouldn't work with me. She'd just work with them instead, right? That's not necessarily true. And I'll tell you why. Because in fact, I guarantee there are people on this call right now that have had someone that they've done business with that had a brother, mother, sister, cousin, best friend who was in the business, but they chose to list or buy with you instead. Why? because they trusted you more than that person. Maybe, and maybe it's just that they didn't want to mix business with friendship. Maybe they don't want to mix business with family. You never know what their reasoning is. But what I can tell you is that you need to make sure that everybody that you know that is capable of sending you a referral, you need to, or doing business with you, you need to put them in your sphere of influence. Now, again, the national average is 250, and I'm seeing I've got 100, 500, 150, 50, not enough, about 100. Yeah, I want you to go through your phone. I want you to pull in. I like it. Sam knows the exact number, 317. Boom. I love it, Sam. Great job. So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to literally take everybody from your phone, put that in there. Everybody that you're friends with on social media, put them in there. Okay. Everybody you went to high school with, everybody you went to school with, everybody you went to college with, everybody you go to church with. They all need to be in your sphere of influence. Guys, you just don't know who's going to end up doing business with you. Okay. Now, then we've got to make sure that we get the most out of that database. Now, take that number, and I'll bet most of you did less than 10% of that number that you wrote down in referral-based transactions last year. Now, the reason I know this is because that also is the national average, okay? And it kind of sucks, but I'm going to show you how to get north of 20% of that number in referral-based transactions every year, working just 12 days per year. Very straightforward, okay? So I want you all to write this down. You're going to do 4 client events per year, no matter what. Write that down. 4 client events per year, no matter what. All right, now, besides the 4, or let's talk about the 4 client events. With those 4 client events, okay, first and foremost, they do not have to be fancy. It does not have to be expensive. It could be a barbecue in your backyard. You could have your checkers playing, lender bring the freaking hot dogs, okay? Now, what do I mean by this? I want you guys to really think about this for a second, all right? First of all, you need 2 lenders. Everybody on this call needs 2 lenders. None of you are doing enough business to have more than that, and none of you should have only 1. Why? Because first and foremost, you need 2 pigs at the trough. And what do I mean by this? In every position that we hold in our companies, we always want 2 people in that position because they'll compete for the position. They'll both get fatter faster, right? In other words, they'll both do better. Iron sharpens iron, right? They'll help encourage each other. They'll synergize with one another, and you and they each do better as a direct result, okay? So we don't ever just want 1 person in a position. So we want 2 lenders. Now, here's the other problem. Flip side of that coin is if I'm not sending my lender enough business that if I stopped sending them business, they'd have to change their lifestyle. I shouldn't be asking them for favors like leads or money or any of that other kind of stuff. Okay. And yet, so many agents now, before they've ever even sent a lender a transaction that closed, they start asking lenders for stuff. Guys, there's a formula for this. Okay. I want you to write this down. Write down give, ask, receive. Give, ask, receive in that order. Okay. Give, ask, receive. You got to give them enough that you earn the right to ask them for what you want, and then you'll get it. But if you try and do this in any other order, it just doesn't work ever. Okay. All right. So now when it comes to these 2 lenders, okay, I'll tell you what you need. You need a local lender. Okay, this person does not need to be a rock star. They need to be professional. They need to be articulate. They need to be able to not screw up a loan for mom and pop buying an owner-occupied house with a ton of money down and great credit. Okay, it needs to be somebody that can just do the job. Okay, now we call them the checkers playing lender because they don't need to be able to do the really complicated stuff. Now, you also need a multi-level chess plan lender, okay? I'm talking about somebody who does residential, commercial, first mortgage, second mortgage, HELOC, somebody that brokers to over 200 different lenders, somebody that if there's a way to get that loan done, they're going to figure out how to get that loan done, okay? They can do anything that can be done. That's my daughter, okay? Again, she's in every state except for New York and Massachusetts. If you're in New York and Massachusetts, I apologize. Unfortunately, she can't help you yet. The rest of you, you're in luck. She can. Now, here's the other thing I'm going to tell you about Madison. So many of you are giving leads away to lenders and getting nothing in return. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could get paid every single time you sent your lender a loan that closed? Well, guess what? You can do that with Madison. And not only can you get paid on the loans that you send her, but when you refer other agents to her and they send her loans, you'll get paid on your loans and their loans. And if they refer another person, you'll get paid on your loans, their loans, and that third person's loans as well. Okay. So, guys, those of you that would like to learn more about how to get paid on mortgage, type in get paid on mortgage and put your phone number in there for me, and I'll have Madison reach out to you. Okay. But make sure and you can send that to me privately in a chat right here on our, if you're watching this on our webinar, you can just go to the chat, type in my name, and make sure you put your phone number there so she can reach out to you. And then you can do it privately or you can do it publicly. It's fine. It's not a big deal either way. If you're on Facebook watching this, then I would recommend sending me a direct message with that information. Okay, so that being said, we've got our two lenders, okay? So now we're going to hold our client events. What do we do for client events? We could do a barbecue in the backyard. We could do movies in the park. We could do photos of Santa. We could do Easter egg hunts, by the way, a very popular one. That's our best attended is the Easter egg hunts, okay? These are all great client event ideas. And there's a ton more. Again, if you go to clubwealth.com/blog, clubwealth.com/blog. You can go there, look for the client appreciation event blog post, and you can get a ton of great client appreciation event ideas there. But let me show you how this works, okay? Got to keep that energy level up. Holy cow. All right, so watch this. So I'm going to show you how to get more out of this. It's not the client event itself. The client events are great. They're just a catalyst. The website is clubwealth.com/blog. Camille, if you could put that in the chat, please, that'd be great. Camille will put that in there for you. Okay, so check this out. 3 weeks before the event, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call every single person in your sphere of influence. Look, I already know you've messaged them, you've emailed them, you've snail mailed them, you've put it on social media, you've done all kinds of marketing for it, right? Great. But you got to call them, okay? The money is made when you pick up the phone and you build that relationship. So watch this. When you call, you're going to BROT. What does BROT stand for? Does anybody know? Type into your chat if you think you know what BROT stands for. BROT. Here's what it stands for. Write this down. Building relationships on trust. Building relationships on trust. Building relationships on trust. Guys, so critical, okay? Watch this. Have you ever heard that people need to know, like, and trust you to do business with you? I'm sure you've heard this before. Guess what? It's not true. They don't need to like you, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, guys, I can promise you this. I've got clients that love me, like me, and I've got one or two that don't like me very much, right? But they still pay me thousands of dollars a month to teach them how to run their business and to teach them how to grow their business and all that stuff, right? Why would they choose to work with me if they don't like me? Okay, the few that don't. Okay, and I don't want to give you the impression that a lot of my clients don't like me, but there's definitely one or two, right? Why would they still pay me if they don't like me? Because they trust that I'm going to do the three things that your sellers want you to do. What are the three things that your sellers want from you? And that's most important to them. And I got news for you. You're not it. Okay. They don't care about you and me. Guys, I've been on over 10,000 listings. I'm not even joking. I've been on over 10,000 listing appointments in my career. And I can tell you that what I learned on these 10,000 listing appointments is that there's only three things they care about. You and I are not among those three things. It is who's going to give me the most money in the least time with the least headache. Most money, least time, least headache. That's it. That's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. Okay. And so nowhere in there do they need to like you. In fact, if you want to get more listings, one of the best things you can do is stop trying to get people to like you and start focusing on getting them to trust you. You'll list a ton more houses. Guys, I've got a lot of clients that list 40, 50, 60, 70, 100, 125 homes, even 168 homes a year. Guys, if they can do it, you can do it. What's the difference? Well, they know the system, they follow the system, and they're focused on building trust, building that relationship on trust instead of getting them to like them. Now, how do we build this relationship on trust? on the phone call. Okay. So I'm going to call everybody in my sphere 3 weeks before my client event, and I'm going to use Ford. Okay. Now, you guys all know what Ford stands for, right? Found on road dead, fix or repair daily, right? I'm just joking. If you guys are, did anybody here drive a Ford? If you drive a Ford, type Ford into the chat. I'm curious if anybody's willing to admit they drive a Ford. Anybody willing to admit that? Like an F-150? I bet somebody on the call's got to have an F-150. There's always at least one. Nobody? Nobody is willing to admit it anyway. Okay. Oh, wait, wait. Janae's like, yes, sir. All right, good. Well, there you go, Janae. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate that. Janae, by the way, why the front seats fold flat in the new F-150s, right? Oh, dude, your husband's got one. I love it, dude. Tell your husband I said this. Make sure he remembers this. But the reason those things fold flat in the front row now is so you can take a nap while you're waiting for the tow truck. I'm totally joking, Janae. Just giving you a hard time. Ford's great. But did you know, though, that Tundra is actually more built in America than Ford? Isn't that interesting? Anyway, I'm just giving you a hard time. What does Ford really stand for, you guys? Anybody know? It's family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. So what we're going to do is we're going to call them up. And we're going to ask them open-ended question about their family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Get them doing 99% of the talking. Okay. Well, really 90% of the talking. You can do 10%. That's it. Just 10. But if I can get them doing 90% of the talking by asking open-ended questions about family, occupation, recreation, dreams, they are going to love me. Okay. They're going to start building trust because there's nothing people love more than the sound of their own voice, right? Okay. So watch this, guys. Now, I have this conversation. I don't even bring up my client event. I don't even bring up real estate. In fact, the worst thing you can possibly do, you have a great conversation with them. You're building that relationship on trust using Ford, and all of a sudden you say something galactically stupid like, oh, by the way, if you were thinking of buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have a realtor you'd refer them to? I don't care how great your cheesy Irish accent is. That is the worst, most self-serving script on planet Earth. If you agree with me on that, say yes. Right? Give me a yes in the chat if you agree that that's self-serving, okay? Because what you just told them was, look, I don't care about you. I care about me, right? Guys, we don't ever want to give somebody that feeling, right? First of all, it should never be true, okay? And second of all, we need to make sure that they understand that we actually care about them because people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Now, that is actually true, okay? Now, I want you to think about this, all right? So, I don't even bring up real estate. And what if they bring up real estate? Am I allowed to talk real estate if they bring it up? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You can verbally vomit real estate all over them at that point, but you got to make sure they bring it up first. And oh, by the way, when they do bring it up, make sure that it's a surprise to you. And probably what they'll do, is especially if you've been marketing your client event effectively, right? Then probably what they will do is they'll say something like, "Oh, don't you have like a barbecue coming up or something like that?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, well, I figured you probably already got an invite to that. I assumed you were coming. I just wanted to call and see how you're doing." Right? Make it about them, not about you or your event or your whatever. Okay. Always make it about them. Okay. Very important. So that's 3 weeks before the event. Okay. Now, the week after the event, here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to call all the people in my sphere of influence again. All of them. If I got 250 people, I'm calling all 250. Okay. And when I call them this time, here's what I'm going to say. Okay. Very simple. For the ones that showed up, all I say is it was great to see you. I'm sorry we didn't spend more time together. Let's spend more time together at the next one. Won't that be great? Okay. That's easy, right? Now, the ones that did not show up, okay, do not try and make them feel FOMO, right? Or fear of missing out, right? Don't do that, okay? Instead, when you call them up, write this down. All I want you to say to the ones that did not show up is, I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. That's it. That's all you need to do. Do not try and do anything else. And here's the thing. Again, it's making it about them, right? Now we're truly building a relationship on trust. Very, very important. Guys, you want to make a ton more money? This is how you do it. All right. I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. All right, that's it. So now let's move on. That's, by the way, that's 4 days per year for the client events. That's 4 days for the calls before the event and 4 days for the call after the event. Very simple. Okay. Now, here's another thing you can do with your sphere of influence to kind of jazz it up a little bit, kind of like pouring gas on the fire. Do a newsletter. And I don't mean an email newsletter, although you can also email it to them, but do a written newsletter, a typed newsletter. Okay. Now, I'm going to recommend if you go to clubwealth.com/newsletter, and I don't get paid for referring you to these guys, okay? But there's a great newsletter there. And if you ask them for their legacy newsletter, okay, not their newer one, but their legacy one, that's the one I recommend. Now, that legacy newsletter is awesome. And what it does is it's got little sections in there like friends referring friends, maybe a coloring collection or coloring contest for the kids, stuff like that. Quiz question of the month. As dumb as this sounds, you guys, direct mail is working better now than it has in the last decade because nobody's doing it anymore. And so it's actually pretty effective right now. Okay. A newsletter connects you with your sphere because they hang on to that thing. It's got shelf life. Okay. So a newsletter is actually a really, really good tool for your sphere of influence. All right. Now, that said, I cannot stress enough the importance of making those calls and connecting with the people in your sphere. Okay. Now, uh, besides fear, let's move on to expired listings for just a moment. Okay, expired listings are on fire right now. I'm just telling you guys, they are really, really good right now. They're easy to do. Most people aren't doing them. Austin, my son, and by the way, the guy, kid Austin, I was telling you about earlier, that's my son, Austin, right? And Mr. 168 listings himself last year, not counting his team. He is currently listing 15 to 25 houses a month right now, while also recruiting 30 to 60 people a month to his team. That's pretty insane, right? And he's got a national team. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But watch this. They are currently setting 125 expired listing appointments a week. 125. Guys, that's insane. I'm just telling you, expireds are on fire right now. They're really, really easy to get. And so if you do nothing else, if you just need today business, I need to make some money right now. What do? Go out, call expireds, get some appointments, go on the appointments, do exactly what we tell you to do on the appointments, list the houses, get that, I'll tell you how to get whatever you decide you want to get for commission. But I can tell you this, it's going to be a lot more than you're getting right now. Okay. At least double what you're getting right now. And all of a sudden you're cooking with gas, you're starting to make some money, right? Okay. So that being said, if you're going to call expires, there's a couple of products that you can use that will help make this more effective for you. Number one is a product called the Land Voice. Okay. There's a lot of great expired products out there. You got Espresso Agent, Vulcan 7, the Red X. There's a lot of great products out there. Okay. Every couple of years it shifts and one kind of takes the lead and the others fall a little bit behind. Currently, right now, we love Land Voice. Why? It's great data. They got as good or better data than anybody else. And it's the most affordable platform out there. So it's the cheapest way you can get them. And what they do is they go out, they get all the expired listings, they they download those, and they also do FSBOs, by the way, and a bunch of other stuff. They compare that against properties that have been relisted for sale so that you're not calling properties that have been relisted for sale. That's a very big deal. We don't want to get in trouble, right? And so now then they also append the data. So let me back up. They'll scrub it against the do not call list if you want them to. Then they append the data. What do I mean by that? So they go get more email addresses, phone numbers, etc., for that property for the people that they believe own the property. So you now have 2, 3, 4, 5 phone numbers you can call to get a hold of that person, thus increasing your chances of actually getting a hold of that person on a correct number. And then you call them, set the appointment, go out and list the house. Now, we love these guys. They're great. Now, one thing I would also caution you on, do not use your cell phone to call expireds and FSBOs. Why? Because if you use your cell phone, it's not if, it's when you are going to get marked as what we call spam likely. What that means is when you start calling people on your caller ID, it's going to say that, oh, this person is likely spam. Okay. That's bad. Okay. Why does that happen? Because the carriers are on a mission to protect their subscribers from spammers. Okay. So, how do we avoid that? Well, and by the way, there's something even worse than spamming or than getting labeled as spam, and that's called ghosting. And ghosting is when you call somebody and you hear it ring on your end, but on their end it's not ringing. On their end, it's silence, right? Even though you can hear it in your ear ringing and you think they hear it. Okay, that's ghosting. So here's what that means. That's the carrier blocking your call without you knowing it because again, they think you're spam. So how do I avoid all of that? We love a product called Prospect Boss. Write that down, Prospect Boss. If you go to clubwealth.com/Prospect Boss, you can get a 14-day free trial courtesy of Club Wealth. You don't even have to be a client of ours. Don't have to be even in our group coaching program, which is, by the way, only 97 bucks a month. But you don't even have to be in our group coaching program to get the 14-day free trial of the Prospect Boss, okay? We love these guys. I have a boatload of ISAs that call for me. All of my ISAs use Prospect Boss. Okay. Now, what this will do is Prospect Boss will not only allow you to dial on 1 to 4 lines at a time. So, in other words, you can call, double, triple, quadruple the number of people in the same amount of time, right? So that's super effective, makes your time a lot more efficient. In reality, what it does is it'll increase your connection rates by about, call it about 30%, 33%, somewhere in there is pretty normal. Okay. So that's great. So because if you're talking to more people per hour, you're going to be setting more appointments per hour, which means you're going to getting more appointments per day, week, month, year, which means you're going to be getting that many more closings, which means literally you can increase your income by about 33%. Okay. All right, that being said, it will also help prevent you from being spammed out or getting ghosted. Okay. It avoids both of those. Okay. Very, very important product. All right. Now, I don't have time to go over all the different lead sources in real estate today, but what I do want to do is I want to give you a list of some of my favorites. Okay. And so, those of you that do this right now, I'll give you 31 of my favorite lead sources. If you wait until after we're done today, then I'll give you 17 of my favorites. Why am I doing this? Why am I going to give you an incentive to do it right away? You guys ever heard of Napoleon Hill? If you've heard of Napoleon Hill, type in yes in the chat. I want to see how many of you have heard of Napoleon Hill. Let's see if anybody knows who he is. Okay, Michelle knows. Does anybody else know? Okay. The product to avoid being spam, Devin, is Prospect Boss. Go to clubwealth.com/Prospect Boss. It's in your chat. Okay, so some of you know, Ina does not know. Ina, Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, one of the best books you'll ever read. Everybody should read that book. In fact, I'll give you another book that you guys should all read. I'm going to give you 3 books to read, okay? Write these down. Everybody write these 3 books down, then I'm going to give you this special. 3 books y'all need to read. Number 1, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's book number 1. Number 2 is Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits. Everybody's got to read Atomic Habits. Okay. And number 3 is The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Look at that. It's almost like Camille knew what I was going to share. I love it. All right. There's your 3 books. You guys need to read all 3 of those books. All right. Now, what I want you to do next, I'm going to give you a bunch of these leads. See, Napoleon Hill said that less successful people make up their minds slowly and change their minds quickly. More successful people make up their minds quickly and change their minds slowly, if at all. What he's telling you is trust your gut. If your gut says, hey, Michael's makes a lot of sense, I should probably do something with it. Well, then do it, right? At the very least, do this. I'm going to have you send a text message right now to 727-287-5993. I want you to send the words Club Wealth That's two words, capital C, capital W. Send the words Club Wealth to 727-287-5993. Okay, and here's what I'll do for you guys. When you do that right now, I'll give you 31 of my favorite lead sources. If you wait until after the webinar is over, then I'll give you 17. Okay, why? Because again, I want you to take action and I want you to trust your gut, take action quickly. Okay, very important. All right, this is gold, you guys. Now, here's the thing. Lead generation, as important as it is, there's something even more important in our business today, and that is lead follow-up. Okay, so I want you guys to write this down. The lead follow-up is so important. Okay, there are two keys to lead follow-up. Number one is speed to lead. Okay. So how fast do I get to my leads? Okay. It's not about, 5 minutes or long. In fact, did you know that if you wait 5 minutes or longer, there's been studies that I saw one study that said that your chances of ever connecting with that person plummet by 900% if you wait 5 minutes or longer. HubSpot just did a study on this. I'm trying to remember what their numbers were. It was also just some incredible number where basically, long story short, you guys, you have less than 5 minutes to get a hold of somebody. Now, here's the number I'm going to recommend. You want to make sure that when a lead comes in, you get on that lead within 30 seconds. Now, listen, if you're not getting online leads, okay, first of all, if you're getting online leads, type in yes. If you're not, type in no. I want to see how many of you are getting online leads, how many of you are not. Online leads, yes. Not getting online leads, type in no. Okay, yes, no, yes, no. Oh, we're getting an even split so far. Keep typing it in. I want to see more responses here, guys. Help me out. No, no, yes, no. Wow, a lot of you are no. Okay, a lot of you are not getting online leads. Okay, this is a problem, you guys. I don't know how you can be in this business today and not get online leads. I want you to write this down. This is a really important statistic you guys need to understand. 92% of all buyers start their search where? Online. 92% of all buyers start their search online. And by the way, fully 72% of those work with the first agent they come in contact with that doesn't drop the ball on follow up. Guys, think about this, okay? So, literally, there's this massive percentage of the buyers out there that are doing business with the first person they find online that's not dropping the ball on follow up. And you guys don't even have a shot at that part of the business because you're not getting online leads. So make sure you send that text message and go get. By the way, those lead sources, some of them are online, some of them aren't. Some of them are referral fee based. Some of them are, I mean, like they're, some of them are paid sources. There's all kinds of great sources out there. Okay, what this is going to do is it's going to get you some options. Don't try and implement it all. Just try and take one at a time. Now understand this. If it's a referral fee based lead source, they generally will not take you if you did less than 25 transactions last year. Um, and Nahesh, I'm seriously butchering this. Nahisha, I hope I'm getting that right. Nahisha, the reason that you're not getting the return on the investment you made on online leads is because your follow-up game is not on point. Okay. If you're doing Naisha, there we go. Naisha. All right, good. Thank you for that. That's helpful. So, Naisha, when you do exactly what I'm going to tell you today on your follow-up game, then you'll get ROI on those online leads. But you got to do exactly what I'm telling you here, okay? Because it just doesn't work if you're not. And you're right, you won't get good ROI. All right, so here we go. And by the way, you're not alone, Naisha. I guarantee there's other people on the call as well that are struggling to get conversion on their online leads, right? A lot of competition for those things if you're not doing them right. Okay, so number one is speed to lead. Now, how fast do I need to get to my leads? The magic number is 30 seconds. Lead comes in, I need to be calling it within 30 seconds. The best teams in the country, they're hitting sub 16 seconds on their speed to lead. It's a pretty big deal, right? Okay, so if I need to get to my leads within 30 seconds, and let's say I do, but what if I don't get a hold of them right away? So lead comes in, I call, they don't answer. What do I do? Do not leave a message, okay? Instead, hang up the phone and call them right back. This is called a double dial. Write that down, double dial. Now, when I double dial them, what's going to happen is 32% of the time, they're going to pick up the phone on my second call. That doesn't sound like a big number, but I'm telling you guys, that's huge. That's money in your pocket, okay? 32% of the time. All right, now, if they don't pick up the call on the second call, do not leave a voicemail. Okay, we at this point we've left no voicemail whatsoever. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to hang up the phone on the second call if they don't answer, and we're going to send them a text message. Simply say, is this whatever name they registered with? Is this Susie? Is this Billy? Is this whatever, right? Whatever name they registered with. Okay. All right. Now, after we've done that, then they're going to respond. More often than not, you're going to get a response back, and it's going to be something like, yes, who is this? Or simply, who is this? The second they say that, you know you got the right person. Okay. If it's not the right person, they say right away, this is not so and so or whatever. Okay. But they don't do that if it's the right person. So once they've done that, you know you've got the right person. Then I want you to respond with calling you now. Calling you now. Guys, I'm telling you, this is mission critical. Okay. I promise you, if you'll just do this, it'll blow you away the response you get. Then, after you've sent the message calling you now, call them again. This is your third call to them in like 5 minutes, okay, or less. Okay. And here's what's going to happen. Crazy statistic. 82% of the time, they'll pick up the phone on that call. Okay. Now you're on the phone with them. Now, watch this. It may not go the way you want it to go, but it's a numbers game. At least you got them on the phone and you're not spending the next 6 months following up with somebody who's never going to do business with you. And you're going to find the ones who are open to potentially doing business with you going through the process. It's a very big deal. Okay. So there's that. Now, the next two critical factors in lead follow-up is so you got speed to lead, and then there's tenacity of follow-up. And the tenacity of follow-up breaks into two different pieces, okay? One is the follow-up methodology, and two is the frequency with which we follow up, okay? So let's talk methodology for a minute. What ways do we follow up? Okay, write these down. There's 7 ways: phone, text, email, video text, video email, phone, text, email, video text, video email, phone, text, email, video text, video email. Next, we're going to use AI. Okay. Now, we want to be careful with AI. Okay. I got to say this, even though I own an AI company, I want you to be very careful with this. Okay. AI, or let me, I want you to write this next to the word AI. Automation equals augmentation. Automation equals augmentation. This is very, very important. Why? Because right now, everybody in this business is trying to automate themselves out of a job. And I'm telling you guys, that's not where it's at. The money is right here in building relationships on trust, right? That's where the money is. That's the core of the business. If it wasn't for relationships, you'd already be out of the business. AI would already be doing everything for you, and people would need. There's billions of dollars trying to get you out of this business, and I'm telling you, if AI could do it without you, you'd already be gone. Okay. So the good news is that relationships are still very, very important. We need to, the more people are going deep on AI, the more you need to go deep on relationships. Now, don't get me wrong. My companies are very, very deep into AI. But let me tell you, I've got the bandwidth and the resources to do it. I pay a lot of people a lot of money to implement that kind of stuff, right? One of the things I want you guys to really think about is instead of you spending oodles and oodles and oodles of hours trying to figure out AI and trying to implement AI, the chances are for most of you, you're better off just partnering with somebody. And I don't mean like a single agent. I don't mean like going and taking on a partner, but partnering with an organization that's got great eye already in place so that you don't have to reinvent that wheel. Okay. I'm telling you, in the next 6 to 12 months, it's going to be insane the difference. 12 months from now, you won't even recognize real estate from what it is today because of AI. But one thing that will remain is relationships. Okay. Very, very important. All right. Now, that being said, number 7 is we're going to Facebook stalk them. Okay. Write that down. Facebook stalking. Okay. Now, what do I mean by Facebook stalking? Okay. First of all, when I have a trouble, if I'm having a hard time getting a hold of somebody, I'm going to go into Facebook. I'm going to send them a direct message. Now, here's what's going to happen. They're not going to see it Okay, it's going to go into their filtered messages. And so then what I do is I message them and I say, okay, so I go into their feed, right? I find a place where they're communicating back and forth with somebody. Then I hit reply to one of their comments. What does that do? It tags me in, or sorry, it tags them in my comment. Okay. And by tagging them in my comment, now it's showing up in their notifications. So guess what? They're going to see this. They won't see the message I sent them, but they'll see this comment. Okay. The comment simply says, "Hey, Susie, it's Michael. I've been trying to reach you. Here's my phone number. By the way, I sent you a direct message. It might have gone into your filtered messages. Check there." Okay. Now, what do you think she's going to do? Do you think Susie's going to call me? Zero chance. But you know what she is going to do? Guarantee it. She's going to go into her filtered messages. She's going to find my message. She's going to open it up. And as soon as does, what does Facebook think? Facebook thinks that we know each other, right? So now, all of a sudden, it's going to start feeding her a little bit of my content. Not a lot, but a little bit of my content. Now, why is that important? Because people need to experience you 7 to 10 different times before they'll even remember your name. I'm going to get 5 or 6 of these touches for free with this process. It's very straightforward, okay? And then here's what happens. Next time I call her, by the way, now who's stalking who? It's not me stalking her, it's her stalking me. I got to get her to stalk me on Facebook, okay? And it's really easy to do. Now, the next time I call her, she's going to pick up the phone and be like, "You're that guy on Facebook, aren't you?" Yes, I am, right? Like all of a sudden, I've got my foot in the door with her, okay? It's a very big deal, you guys. I cannot stress this enough. And it's free. This is something that doesn't cost you a dime, and it's going to help you get your foot in the door with so many more people, okay? So there's our methodology. Now let's talk frequency, okay? Frequency is so important, okay? Here's the deal with frequency. You're not going to like this. I want you to write this down. It's called the Club Wealth Rule of Three. The Club Wealth Rule of Three. All right, so here's the deal. So you need to reach out to them in one or more of those 7 ways on the following schedule: 3 times a day for the first 3 days, 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks, 3 times a month for the next 3 months, 3 times a year for the next 3 years. I'll give it to you again. 3 times a day for the first 3 days, 3 times a week for the next 3 weeks, 3 times a month for the next 3 months, 3 times a year for the next 3 years. And by the way, Camille put it in your chat, so it'll be real easy for you to find and write down. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this little piece right here is so important. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but Michael, if I contact somebody that many times, I'm going to make them upset. Is it possible that you might upset a few people if you follow up with them that much? Absolutely. Good. What did they think was going to happen when they filled that form out on the website? They'd be mad at you if you didn't follow up. Guys, I promise you, there are more people mad at you for not following up than there are people that are mad at you for following up. Believe it or not. In fact, I can prove it. The National Association of Realtors does a survey every year and they ask consumers, what is the thing that bothers you most about real estate agents? You know what the number one complaint they get every year is? Lack of communication. Guys, so my wife and I, oh my gosh, perfect example. My amazing wife, Tara. I hope you guys get a chance to meet Tara. She's awesome. I mean, truly, like, just such a sweetheart. You guys will love her, and she will love you. She will take great care of you. She's that person that takes care of everybody around her. But Tara and I, we've been looking for a house. And one of the houses that we called on, it's a $30 million house, right? And so I reached out to the agent, I called and I texted the agent trying to get a hold of the agent on this house. I'd like you to type in the chat, how long do you think it took this agent to return my call? $30 million house. Type into your chat. How long do you think it took him to return my call? Anybody? Any ideas? Nobody's got an idea. Oh, here we go. Kelly says 2 weeks, 2 days. Okay, what else? Guys, I'll tell you this. It was a week before this person called me back. I'm like, dude, I'm going out of my way to buy the house now without him, right? Like, I don't want that easy. And by the way, I don't have a license today, so I can go and I don't have to work directly through that listing agent. I can go right to the seller. And by the way, what's really crazy is The listing expired the day before the guy called me back. So it's like I don't even have to use the guy. And I'm telling you, you guys, people are so frustrated that you're not calling them back. We need to do better, okay? If we want people to look at our industry with higher regard, we need to do better. We need to answer our phones. We need to return our phone calls. We need to be Johnny on the spot with our follow-up, okay? All right, that being said, so the tenacity of follow-up is very, very important. Now, let's talk about what's our goal when we get them on the phone. Okay. The goal is set the appointment. That's it. Set the appointment, set the appointment, set the appointment. That's the only goal we have. Now, the problem is that most agents are trying to, can figure out, well, can this person even afford it? Like, I don't want to go waste my time showing houses to somebody if they're not pre-qualified or pre-approved, right? Guys, no, that's sales prevention 101. Okay. What you should be doing is you got to be like the drug dealers, right? What am I talking about? What do drug dealers know about lead conversion that real estate agents don't? First one's free, then you got to pay. Think about that. First one's free, then you got to pay. Guys, you got to give them a little tasty taste of the product. And relax, by the way, I've never done drugs, okay? I'm a Mormon kid, man. I don't even drink coffee, let alone do drugs, all right? But you'll remember the analogy, okay? And it's a really important example. I want you to think about this. You've got to give them a taste of the product. What is your product? Type into the chat. What is your product? Come on, quickly. Type it into the chat. Who can tell me what the product is? Anybody? Nobody knows? You guys are killing me here. What is your product? The product, you guys, is you. You are the product. Okay? It's not the houses. Okay? It's not your service. It's you. So how do I give them a taste of the product then? Like I'm going to go out there and show them a house for the first time and let them lick my face? No, that's terrible. Don't do that. That's weird. Okay? That's super weird. In fact, I had a gal in one of my classes one day. I do a lot of half-day live events. And I had this gal in my class. She's like, I don't know. It's been a slow year. I'm like, oh my gosh, weird. Whoa, down girl. But check this out. I want you to think about this, guys. To give them a taste of the product, we got to get face to face with them, right? We all sell better face to face than over the phone, right? I promise you. Okay. I guarantee you do. And so we need to get face to face with them so they can experience us. All right. That's going to highly increase our chances of doing business with them. All right. Very, very important. So the goal is set the appointment. But Michael, what if they can't afford the house? I get out there, they can't afford it. Who cares? Because watch this. If nothing else, you got a great referral source now. Why? Because you showed them respect and dignity that nobody else would. Hallelujah, you got a referral source. But it gets even better because watch this. We're gonna have, you're gonna get them connected with Madison, my daughter, right? She's gonna be paying you on all those mortgages that close. And oh, by the way, guess what else she's gonna do? She's gonna take this person that didn't qualify. She's gonna put them through credit repair, do whatever she's got to do to get them qualified, and then she's gonna let you know, hey, I got Susie ready to buy. You ready to go sell her house? Done, right? And the whole time she's endorsing you and she's making sure that that person stays loyal to you, right? Guys, this like your lender partner is such a big deal on this. I can't even begin to tell you. But now watch this. How do we get them to want to talk to my lender, right? Because here's the problem that most agents have. Most agents try and force them to talk to their lender. They lie to them. They'll say stuff like, oh, well, the seller requires. No, they don't. You're just lying to the person to get them to talk to your lender because you're too lazy to go show them a freaking house. Stop. First of all, stop lying. Second, stop being lazy. Here's the bottom line. What you do instead is you just say, you got to get them to want to talk to your lender. Give them an incentive to talk to your lender. Write this down. I'm going to give you the perfect script to get them to want to talk to your lender, and it works every time. Okay. Write this down word for word. Okay. After you've set the appointment, this is what you're going to say. If they could save you $10,000 to $20,000 on your mortgage, if they could save you $10,000 to $20,000 on your mortgage, if they could save you $10,000 to $20,000 on your mortgage, would you be interested in chatting with one of our lenders? I'll give it to you again. If they could save you $10,000 to $20,000 on your mortgage, would you be interested in chatting with one of our lenders? Last time. If they could save you $10,000 to $20,000 on your mortgage, would you be interested in chatting with one of our lenders? Camille put it in the chat for you, okay? Copy and paste that, share it with your lender, share it with everybody on your team. Guys, Use that script. And here's what everybody says. Well, sure, I'd be happy to talk to them. Great. Then what you do is you immediately call the lender while you've got the client on the phone, and you're going to use a system. Don't just try and hit the plus and three-way call them in, okay? Because now you're only calling one lender. Remember, you got to have two lenders, and you want to call both at the same time. Well, how do I do that? You use technology to help with this. There's three technology products that can easily do this for you, okay? Follow Up Boss, Lofty, and a product called Callingly, okay? Now, if you don't have Follow Up Boss or Lofty, then simply, and by the way, both those CRMs have a dialer product that will do this functionality. If you don't have that, then I want you to go get Callingly. You can just go to clubwealth.com/CALLINGLY, clubwealth.com/CALLINGLY. And here's what they do. What they do is you're gonna hit plus and you're gonna call the Callingly number that you've set up, and that number is gonna broadcast the call to both of your lenders and everybody on their team that's capable of taking a loan application over the phone. This is very, very important. Okay, so now I'm broadcasting this call to 8 or 10 or 20 people at the same time, and here's what's going to happen: the first one to pick up is live with me and my client. All of a sudden, I look like a rock star because I can get a highly qualified professional lender that knows who I am and that's going to endorse me to my client. I get them on the phone every time. I don't have to worry about, the fact that, a lot of these other guys are maybe not reachable at that particular time because they're in a meeting or they're on the phone or they're in their kid's birthday party or they're in the bathroom or who knows what's going on, right? End of the day, this gives me the best chance of getting somebody live right now with my client. And most importantly, we want to make sure that lender is going to take the loan application over the phone right then. And I'll tell you why. Because people avoid this process like the plague. And most lenders, what they do is they'll send a link out via email or text message and with a link to the loan application, and they'll hope that the client will fill it out and send it back. Guys, I don't hope is not a strategy, okay? This is not something that I'm going to rely on. Most people aren't just going to go fill it out because they hate this process. When's the last time you were excited about filling out a loan application? Nobody is, right? And so what I want to do is I want to make this process as easy as humanly possible for that client, okay? And so I want my lender to stay on the phone, walk them through it, hold their hand step by step through the entire process, fill it out with them. So much better, you guys. I can't be. And by the way, Madison, my daughter, will do that. Okay. So when she reaches out to you, understand that she does it the right way. And you need to tell your other lender, okay, because remember, you're going to have two lenders. You need to tell your other lender they need to do it the way I just described as well. Okay. Very important. I'm telling you guys, you're losing a bunch of business right now and you don't even realize it because your lender's doing it wrong. And so they're just costing you a bunch of money that you don't even realize is falling through the cracks. All right. Now, that said, we're going to get that appointment set. We're going to go show them a house. And remember, guys, when it comes to working with buyers, it's a long game, right? Okay, it may take you some time, but that's the process. Now, here's the key. Everybody, whether it's a buyer or a seller, we want to make sure we're stacking them into our sphere of influence. We're going to keep doing all those things we talked about for our sphere, and we're going to get all these people sent into business. Now, I want you to think about this. What is the average sales price in your market? Okay. I'm going to show you how to double your income right now. Okay. Super easy. Okay. I want you to think about what is the average sales price in your market. Now, let's just, for easy numbers, let's use $10,000, $400,000. Okay. Now, if I've got an average sales price of $400,000, typical agent in my market's going to get about $10,000 to list that house. Okay. And that's going to be $10,000 to get it listed and sold. Okay. That's most agents. And that freaking sucks. But watch this. What if I could show you how to get $20,000 instead of 10 and have your clients freaking love you for it? That's the last thing I'm going to teach you. And I'm going to teach you that in just a minute, okay? Before we leave. That's going to be just before the hour, okay? But before I teach you that, I want to tell you what's changing in the industry right now. Camille, do you have that slide for me? Guys, this thing is changing the industry right now. There is a wave of change that's not even coming. It's already happening. It's here. and it's crushing people that aren't watching it, and it's taking people that are part of it, and it is launching their careers, and they're making more money than ever before. This is a great time to be an agent, by the way. Why? There's a lot fewer agents now than there have been in as long as I've been in the business. The number of transactions is down dramatically. Instead of being just north of 5 million transactions a year, we're just under 4 million transactions a year. And it's not looking like it's going to necessarily get better in the near term for most agents. But I will tell you this, because so many agents have gotten out of the business, the agents that are utilizing these types of products and services that I'm about to explain to you, and they're part of this tidal wave that's been coming for quite a while. Guess what? They're having their best years ever. Why? Because they have all the systems, tools, technology, support, staff, everything they need to be very successful. So if you can go ahead and share that slide, Camille, go ahead and share that. Okay, so I want you guys to look at this. Okay, so these are platform teams, okay? So think about this. This is similar to a team, okay? And I want you guys to really understand what's going on here. These are similar to a team. They're companies like Place, Space, Home Exa, okay? Think about this. These are nationwide. Think of it like a big nationwide team, but instead of branding the team, right? Because like if you have a local team, they're going to brand the team, right? It's going to be the Johnson team or the Jehoshaphat team or whatever, right? And I'm not even saying that's bad. That's actually a good thing to some degree because it helps because now you're getting better brand recognition, you get more leads, et cetera, right? And so that helps. But if you ever leave the team, guess what? You just lost all that brand value that you've helped build over a number of years, right? Because it was all branded to the team and not to you. Not only that, they are conformity minded organizations. I'm talking about your local teams are all conformity minded organizations, which means they want you to do things their way. They expect you to do things a certain way. And if you don't, off you go. They boot you off the team. Okay. Well, that's old school. That's the way things used to be done, okay? Now things are completely different. And there's these companies, like PlaySpace and Homexa. There's these companies out there, and there's others like them that are a national branded platform team. And what this means is they're going to brand you so you get to be the star. So if you ever leave, you get to take the brand with you, but all the signs, all the marketing, all that's in your name, not in their name. Also, they provide you, if you look on your screen there, on the upper left-hand corner, you see their nationwide market and brand you, and then you see they provide your transaction coordination, listing coordination, HR, hiring, onboarding. They provide you with all your technology, your CRM, your analytics software, your back office software, your automation, your AI, all of that. They do all of that for you. They either provide you with or supplement your training and coaching. This is a very big deal. Training and coaching is not cheap, you guys. Now, listen, when you're working with Club Wealth, we will teach you how to do everything you need to do in this business to make 7 figures a year if that's what you want to do. I'm telling you, and we're very, very good at it, and we can get you there and not ruin your family in the process. But that's us. That's how Club Wealth works. We will teach you how to do everything. But you look at these companies, they're doing it with you, right? Now they cost a little bit for that, right? But it's not free. But what happens now is they're taking a lot of this stuff off of your plate. And when it comes to your training and coaching, they'll either provide it to you or they will supplement it. I'll give you an example in the case of Homexa, right? Homexa, if you're coaching with Club Wealth, Homexa will actually pay for half of your coaching with Club Wealth. Guys, that's insane. Why would they do that? And they've got hundreds of people in their organization. Why would they pay for half of their coaching? Because they know that agents that have a coach consistently outproduce agents without a coach by 8 to 11x. Oh my gosh, you guys, that's massive, all right? So that said, they focus on agent freedom, tools, and upside without the leadership burden. So think about this. If you've ever thought about growing a team or building a team at some point in your career, why wait? Why not do it now? I understand why a lot of people wait because they don't have the money to do it and it's a lot of work. And how do I do that and, bring some dollars in at the same time? And I'm just not sure I'm ready for all that, right? I get that. In fact, there's a lot of team leaders out there. I know we have a couple of tier threes on the call, tier twos. There's a lot of people on the call that are probably already starting to build teams. And guys, you're figuring out it's harder than you thought, right? It's a lot of work. If believe me, we're known as the team building company, so I know how this works, right? Guys, I'm telling you, these companies take a lot of that burden off. So you can build a team without having to have the months where you lose money, without having to have all the, burden of how do I provide the systems, tools, technology, support, staff? How do I hire, onboard, train that staff? How do I hold that staff accountable? How do I deal with all the drama? All the things that go along with it, right? These guys take care of for you. Now, here's what's interesting. They require, or I should say, I got to be careful with that word require. They would prefer that you are loyal to their vendors. And here's why. Zillow is requiring vendor loyalty, and it's bad, right? Okay, that's called steering, and you're not supposed to do that. And what Zillow is doing is Zillow is saying, okay, so we want you to send 10%. If they send you leads, then they expect that 10% of those leads that do business are going to use Zillow Home Loans. And if you don't send at least 10% of them back to Zillow Home Loans for their mortgage, then guess what? They'll reduce the number of leads you get, and they'll reduce the quality of the leads you get. They're in the middle of a lawsuit right now over this. It's called a steering lawsuit because they're violating the steering laws, and it's very clear that they're in violation. I don't see a world where they survive that, or where they win that lawsuit. Now, that being said, they're not trying to necessarily win it. They're trying to drag it out as long as they possibly can because every day they drag it out, they make millions of dollars on mortgage that they know is going to go away when they are forced to change their practices there. All right, now look in the upper right-hand corner. Who are these companies looking for? They're looking for teams that want to scale quickly without building infrastructure, right? So again, like I said, if you want to grow a big team and you want to be the team leader and you want to make all the money that the team leader makes, well, that's great, right? But in the beginning, it's really hard. In fact, until you're in mid-tier, I should say late tier three, early tier four, your team is draining you and the team leader is making less than the team members are making until you get into late tier three, early tier four. But if you wanted to be able to build a team without having to build all that infrastructure, if you want to just scale faster without having to build all that infrastructure, maybe you're a team leader already and you're looking to offload your operations, your billing, your marketing, all of this stuff, right? Well, then guess what? These organizations can help you with that. How about this? Agents that want 100% done for you platform. So let's say you're a solo agent or even a team leader, but you're an agent, right? And you just want to wake up in the morning, get up and you look at you get on a huddle at 7:30 in the morning and somebody tells you, hey, we've got two appointments for you today. And they're in your inbox. Go into your Outlook or your email, hit print, go take all that because it's got all your CMA, your property profiles, it's got your contracts that you need to get signed. Take all that out, go to the appointment, get it signed, bring it back, hand it back off to us. We'll take care of everything else. You're done. That's all you got to do. And you get paid like a normal agent. Are you freaking kidding me? Does this sound like utopia to you? Because I'm telling you, it's actually legit. These guys are doing it all the time. That's, by the way, the Homexa model. Okay. Now watch this Place. Let's talk about Place really quick. So the first company to come out with this model was a company called Place, a guy named Ben Kinney. If you're with Keller Williams, that name might ring a bell, right? And Ben, very smart guy, and he thought, well, hey, why don't we just take all the stuff agents suck at or don't enjoy doing, and why don't we just do it for them, and then we'll just charge them for it, right? Okay, great. So that's how Place started, and it was a great product, great plan. And he actually was so good, he took it to Wall Street, and Goldman Sachs said, hey, we really like what you're doing. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give you $100 million to get this thing going. And I wouldn't have taken the money. Why? Because if you take the $100 million, now every decision you make, is it what's best for the agent or the consumer? No, it's what's best for Goldman Sachs, right? So I don't love that about it. But I do like that they're brokerage agnostic. You could be with any brokerage on the planet and you could be part of Place. And they'll do all this for you. Now, again, they are like a more traditional team where they are essentially they're conformity minded. So you have to do things their way or they kick you out. And furthermore, you have to sign like a 3-year agreement with them. And oh, by the way, they take half of your profit. So I'm not in love with that model necessarily. Okay. That being said, they've got a lot, they're huge. They've got a lot of agents in their organization. They've done very, very well. Great organization. Just not, there's a couple of kind of showstoppers for me that would keep me from wanting to do that one. All right, so then you got space. Okay, so space came along and kind of refined what place is doing, made it even better. Okay. And so Space said, hey, look, we're going to do this. We're going to remain privately held. We're not going to go to Wall Street because we want to keep all the decision making in house. And we want to make sure that the agents are profiting, not Wall Street, right? And so we're going to put focus on agent profit, which is good. The downside is they require you to move to LPT. Now, I'm curious if anybody on the call is with LPT. Type in LPT in the chat. This is not me bagging on LPT, by the way. I actually really like LPT. But what I don't like is that they require you to move there. Okay. Because think about this, most agents don't want to move brokerages, right? I'm guessing nobody on the call right now is excited about leaving their brokerage and going and having to start over again in a new brokerage. Well, the reason I say this is because if they're requiring you to move to LPT, that's a major barrier of resistance. That's a hurdle. Oh, Camille, if you could figure, there you go. Thank you, Camille. That's a major hurdle that is keeping you from wanting to join Space, right? Because then you have to change to LPT brokerage. And again, I love LPT. In fact, LPT, interesting story, is the fastest growing brokerage in history. Faster than Keller Williams, faster than EXP. They're the fastest growing, organically growing brokerage in the country. Okay, very interesting. All right, that being said, I don't love that about Space. And I also am not in love with the fact that they are, because they're agent profit centered, they're going to work you to death, right? Because they want you doing as much business as they can. So they're going to crack that whip, make sure you're doing as much business as possible. Sometimes that could be at the expense of your family. And I'm not on board with that. Okay. So let's talk about Home Exa really quick. So Home Exa, this is where my son's at. This is his company, right? Privately held, world-class leadership team, right? They're not beholden to Wall Street. They allow you to remain with your current brokerage. So you do not have to switch brokerages to be a part of Home Exit because they're not a brokerage. They're a platform team, right? They're agent profit centered and also family focused. And what this means is these guys understand, and write this down. The most important thing I can ever share with you. I want you to write this down. No success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. I'll give it to you again. No success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. If you agree with that, give me an amen in the chat. Guys, I'm telling you right now, this business will chew through families if you let it. Okay. It is so important that we find that balance. And sometimes it's tough to be in balance, right? Sometimes we got to work a little harder at work, sometimes a little harder at home. I mean, it's a kind of a give and take. But at the end of the day, we got to make sure we're not screwing up our family in an effort just to make money. Okay. So important. And so, that being said, they understand that. And so they're all about how do we, they're focused, the way they approach every challenge or problem or opportunity in their business is how do we make sure the agent's making as much money as possible in the least amount of time with the least amount of headache in a way that's not taking them away from their family so that we're not messing up their families in the process. Okay. Very important. Now, something else. They're listing dominant. Now they have people in Home Exa that just work buyers and they have people that just work sellers. They have people that work with both buyers and sellers. But as a company, they're very listing dominant. Now here's why this is important. Because some of you are getting leads from places like Zillow and realtor.com. And let's use Zillow as the perfect example. Guys, if you're on a Zillow Flex team or if you're getting leads from Zillow, guys, you're paying 35, 45% right off the top for that lead. And they're watching everything you're doing. And oh, by the way, if you ever leave their system, they have the right to contact your clients. And you're required to use Follow Boss. And by the way, when you're working with them, which means, by the way, they're watching those contacts in your Follow Boss. They're listening to your calls using their AI. Guys, if you don't think that they're going to come after your people, I got news for you. You're wrong. They will. Their goal is not to help you make as much as you can. Zillow's goal is to make Zillow and its investors as much as it can. Okay. That being said, HomeX is different, right? Again, they don't report to Wall Street. Their goal is how do I make the agent as much money as possible in the least amount of time with the least amount of headache, and how do we make sure that we're not pulling them away from their family unnecessarily? Well, being listing dominant helps with that because when you control the listings, guess what you control? You control the market. And when you control the market, you get the buyer leads for free. Okay. Now you've got all these buyer leads coming to you. It's better leads. They're higher intent, right? In other words, they're more likely to transact business sooner. Okay. They're faster cash conversion cycle, again, meaning from the time you get the lead to the time it becomes a paycheck is a shorter period of time. And by the way, you're not competing with a billion different agents for it because it came in off your listings. Guys, listing dominant is huge. You've probably heard before you need to list to last. That's kind of true. You don't have to list to last, but you need to be with an organization that carries a lot of listings if you want to last. Okay, that's going to be a very important component. All right, now that said, they also have a robust unlimited revenue share model. Now, this is where it gets really crazy. All right. So understand this. First of all, they don't have any monthly fees. They don't have any ongoing, there's no upfront fee, no monthly fees, anything like that. They're paid like a team would be paid, right? But again, think of it like a national team that brands you instead of them. So they just get a percentage of transactions that close, whether it's, it could be transactions they helped you get, it could be transactions from your sphere, whatever. Every transaction you do is going to be a part of that system. But guess what? They're also doing stuff on the front and the back end. They're doing all your TC, all your lead gen, all your convert. All you're doing is literally going on the appointment, getting stuff signed, bringing it back. You can obviously still work with your sphere and all that. But guys, here's where it gets really, really interesting. All right. So I want you to think about this. Literally, every time you bring someone, first of all, let's back up. How many of you are with a rev share model brokerage? Type in your brokerage name. I want to know what brokerages are you guys with? What companies are you guys with right now? Okay, this is a really interesting dynamic that's changed the industry forever, and it's growing faster than you can imagine. Okay, I got Lamar. I know Anthony really well, Michelle. I spent a lot of time. Anthony and I used to travel in the same circles together back when we were doing REO a long, long time ago. Okay, I got Real, Keller Williams, EXP, perfect, love it. Okay, any other brokerages on the call? I'd love to see what other brokerages you guys are with. So watch this. Let me tell you what we got here. Okay, so let's back up. Long time ago, Remax was the fastest growing, best brokerage for a long time, right? It was this, they changed the industry with this 100% model where you could pay a monthly fee and then you got to keep 100% of your commissions, right? Revolutionized the industry. They realized we got to put agents first, right? Well, then Keller Williams came along and Keller Williams, Gary said, we've got a recruiting problem. Instead of me going out and hiring all these recruiters and paying a bunch of money for recruiters, why don't we just incentivize the agents to recruit people to Keller Williams for us, right? And so why don't we just give them a part of the profit that we make? And it was a revolutionary idea at the time, and it helped Keller Williams become the fastest growing brokerage for the next decade and a half. The problem with it was because it was profit share and not revenue share, it was a little bit not so transparent, right? And so it was hard for people to understand how much they would make, and it was hard for them to understand, well, how much did the OP spend and blah, blah, blah. And so it wasn't a very transparent program. It didn't quite work out as well as most people had hoped it would. And not as many people made a lot of money on it as was initially thought they would. And so then along came Glenn Sanford with EXP. Now, this is where the industry really changed, okay? So Glenn said, hey, look, why don't we come out with something more transparent? Let's do revenue share. So we're going to take the top line revenue, and that's where we're going to split. And the agent keeps all their commissions, and they only pay a little transaction fee on top of that, right? They might have a split for a period of time, right? So they might be on an 80-20 or 90-10 or whatever the case may be, up until they spend a certain amount with the brokerage. That's called a cap. Once you've paid the brokerage a certain amount, and each company has a different cap. I'll give you some examples. Keller Williams at 21,000 or 16, depending on which marketplace you're in. Real is at 12,000. EXP is at 16,000. LPT, fastest growing organic brokerage ever in history, is at you can get as low as 5,000. Guys, I mean, like these companies are all figuring out now. Agents hate being on a company split, right? And so, and by the way, if you're hearing me, like if you're with Lamaki or some of these other companies out there, Coldwell Banker or whatever, guys, your brokers doesn't want you to hear this, okay? And I'll tell you the reason why, because they want you paying on a split. And I'm telling you, if you're doing more than 10 transactions a year and you're not on or at a company that has a cap, you're going to pay way too much to your company, way too much. Okay. So all of these companies now are transitioning to a cap system where once you've paid it, all you pay now is a small transactional fee. Okay, well, that being said, let's look again at this rev share model. And so not only do you have a cap, but now they said, look, instead of going out and hiring recruiters and instead of doing profit share, why don't we just say, okay, look, if Michelle brings Tracy in, let's say Michelle is with EXP or whatever. Actually, Kelly, you're actually with EXP. We'll use you as an example. So Kelly brings Michelle in. Then every time Michelle does a transaction, Kelly's going to get a little bit of money, right? She's going to get a little piece of that. Okay. Up until Michelle hits her cap, right? And so because there's a cap, it's going to stop the revenue share once she hits her cap each year, right? Now, that being said, what that means is that Kelly is going to make for every person, on average, for every person that's in her downline, and they hate it when you call it that, but let's call it what it is. I'm not afraid of those names, network marketing or rev share or downline or whatever. They like to call it organization, but if for everybody that Kelly brings in and everybody they bring in and everybody they bring in, right, down 10 levels deep, she's going to make roughly $500 to $800 per year per person in her downline. Okay. Now that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but let me tell you how this gets huge. And I've seen this work. I have four buddies. I've got a lot more buddies than that, but four of my buddies are guys named Mike Reese, Albie Stasic, Jay Kinder, and Curtis Johnson. Some of you might know those names. Okay. Good friends of mine, all very powerful guys, very, very good producers. And all four of those guys in rev share at $500 to $800 per person per year in rev share. Those guys last year each made over $4 million. Let that number sink in. $4 million, right? I mean, we're talking some serious money here. And that's without selling a freaking house, right? And that's in an organization where there's a cap on how much the agent's going to pay into the rev share model. So there's a cap on how much you can make per agent. Okay, well, watch this. Here's where it gets crazy. The difference between a platform team like a Homexa and a brokerage like EXP, Keller Williams, Rio, whatever, is that Homexa doesn't have a cap. These platform teams don't have a cap. Why? Because they're providing a lot more than a brokerage provides. They're helping you with lead gen, lead follow, lead conversion. They're helping you with systems, tools, technology, support, staff, all the stuff. They're providing you with leads. They're providing you with even appointments that they're setting for you. And then they're doing all the back end work, right? They're providing you with your technology, your AI. They're doing all the transaction coordination, listing coordination, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And so this is when, by the way, Michelle, nobody's trying to recruit you. but here's the point. The point is that with this revenue share model that Homexa has, there's no cap. And so watch this. Let's say that Michelle was with Homexa and she recruited Kelly into Homexa. Well, all of a sudden now, Kelly does $150,000 in gross commission income. Guess what Michelle gets? So 10% of that goes into the rev share pool. So $15,000 goes into the rev share pool. And because Michelle brought Kelly in, Michelle gets half of that first tier, which means Michelle just made $7,500 on Kelly first tier. And it pays 10 tiers deep. Guys, I'm telling you right now, rev share is taking over this industry. Every company in this industry is realizing how critical rev share is and how they've got to have it. Oh, I love this. Michelle says, I will be at Homex the first week of June. Had a great conversation with Austin. That's awesome. I did not know that, by the way, just FYI. But that's fantastic. You're going to love it. Here's the key. Michelle, I'm going to tell you this. If you want to make money at Homexa, here's your key. Show up on the huddle 5 days a week. If you're on that huddle 5 days a week, the people that are on that huddle 5 days a week, literally on average are 6xing their income in the first year with Homexa. 6x their income. The ones that are on that huddle 5 days a week. I can't even stress that enough. And you'll hear him talk about that. But anyway, guys, my point is simply this. I would highly recommend that all of you do. There's a Homexa Explain call. Oh, look at that. Chris said, Austin literally mentioned the same thing on this morning huddle. LOL, 6x income. That is literally the number. Austin and I've been talking a lot about that number because, dude, I'm telling you guys, making extra money is literally that simple. If you want to make more money, show up on that huddle every single day. And then show up for the appointments. That's the biggest challenge they have is getting agents to show up on time for the listing appointments. All right. That being said, guys, Camille, where do we go? Clubwealth.com/Homexa. Is that how people find out more about Homexa? They do a 30-minute Homexa explained call. It's just like a Zoom call where there's a bunch of people on it, kind of like what we're doing here, but theirs is different, right? Go get on that call. Guys, you should go just jump on clubwealth.com/home exa. Camille, are you there? Camille must have fallen asleep. I'm just giving you a hard time, Camille. There you go. Clubwealth.com/home exa. Go there, register for one of their Home Exa Explain calls. It's a 30-minute call. And here's what's going to happen. You'll get on that call and you're going to be like, there's no way. This is too good to be true. Yeah, no, it's actually true. All the time I hear feedback. I've got coaches. I'll give you a great example. Hey, Ju Kim. Okay, she's one of our coaches at Club Wealth. In 2 years ago, she did 35 transactions. Last year, she took a lot of the year off, had some personal stuff going on, took a ton of time off, only did 15 transactions. Well, guess what? She joined Homexa at the end of December. Her first month with Homexa, she penned at 11 deals. Think about that. 11 deals in her first month. Guys, I see people all the time. Who was he was telling me about yesterday? Um, God, I can't remember who it was, but this person literally 13 listings in their first, I want to say 6 weeks. 13 listings in their first 6 weeks with Homexa, all of them Homexa generated. Okay. None of that was from their sphere or anything like that. And by the way, Heiju got a lot more at her. So those 11 deals she penned, most of those were sphere of influence. Why? Because Homexa helped her accelerate that and helped her get a bunch more out of her sphere. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time talking about Homexa. I just wanted to let you guys know that that is something you should be looking at. Now, something else I want you to consider. And Camille, if you could put that on the screen that you just put in the chat for me a minute ago. Guys, if you're interested in learning more about Club Wealth, we would love to work with you. We don't ever pressure people to do business with us. If you're with Homexa, they're going to give you our group coaching. They're going to pay for the group coaching program with us. Be on those group coaching calls. It's every week. Okay. Normal agents pay $97 a month for that program, and it's worth way more than that. Guys, take advantage of it. If you're not with Homexa, then here's what I'm going to do for you today. Instead of paying $97 a month, for those that are on the call right now, I'll let you sign up for $77 a month. You can cancel at any time. There's never a long-term commitment. If after the first 30 days, if you're in your first 30 days and you don't absolutely love it, then guess what we'll do? We'll literally give you your money back. Okay. And hold on. I'm trying to read what he just said. I don't even know what that means, Betty. All right. So you're going to maybe I'll have to explain that one to me. But anyway, my point is simply this, you guys. If you can swing it for $77 a month, you're going to get so much with our group coaching program. It is the best thing you can possibly do right now. To sign up for that. Oh, that's your real estate company's name. I'm like, what the heck company name is that? Okay. So that being said, Camille, is it clubwealth.com/group? Is that how they would sign up for the group coaching today?
That will work
Uh,
too, Michael. Yeah.
what's the best way for them to get this done today, guys? Is it just to have them, what do you want to do? Are we going to call
Type in
them
in
and
the
get,
chat, it says, and type in group. That will help.
okay, so just type in group in the chat and give us your phone number, okay? If you'd like to get signed up for the group coaching program. Guys, it's every week. It's a live 1 hour call. There's anywhere from 50 to 250 people on that call at any given time. And so a lot of referrals go back and forth from there. Make sure you're on camera, on Zoom during those calls. And I promise you this, guys, everything you need to know, everything, all the checklists, all the frameworks, all the strategies, everything you need to know to make money in real estate is taught on those group calls. Here's the thing, though, you got to go implement, right? And the guy that teaches it is Ron Anderson. Best coach in the industry, guys. I'm telling you, the guy is phenomenal. So go in there and be live and make sure it says again your name and your location on your Zoom because and if you ask a lot of questions, you'll be more visible and people will remember you and they'll recommend you, right? And our clients have a lot of love to give. All right, now we also have an event coming up. And that was that one I told you about earlier. It's in Dallas, Texas. It's November 3rd and 4th. Guys, the tickets online are $997 right now. Sign up while we're on the call here today. All you got to do is send Camille a private message. So you just click on the drop down arrow where it says who you're sending the message to. Choose Camille Cruz. Send her a private message with your phone number and say, I want to do the event. Okay. And she will get you a ticket for $497. And I'm telling you, it's worth every penny. If you can swing it, upgrade to VIP, it matters. Okay. Now, the VIP upgrade is also $497. Okay. I'm telling you right now, our events, think about this. It's 2 days. And by the way, I got to hustle because I got to get to this last thing. I'm going to teach you. This is the last thing I'm going to teach you how to double your commissions. And I got 5 minutes left, so I got to hustle. Okay. Bottom line, here's the deal. Camille will get you more information about the event. Just message her right now. I'm telling you guys, 2 days of literally 4 or 5 classes per time slot all day long, taught by the top agents around the country. They got nothing to sell you. They're just sharing the things that are working for them. I will promise you this, if you've ever been to another event in the industry, you come to our event, you're going to love it. And by the way, if you don't love it after the end of day one, come up to me. I won't just give you your money back. I'll give you double your money back. I'll buy you a first class ticket back home. I'll get you a limo from the airport to your house. I'll even reimburse you for the hotel if you stayed at the host hotel. Guys, I'm telling you, but you got to leave right then. And guess what? Nobody's ever asked me for their money back. The events are phenomenal. You are going to love the events. All right. Now, last is our one-on-one coaching. If you are interested in learning about one-on-one coaching with us, if you want to double your income year over year, get into the one-on-one coaching. It's by far the best on the planet. Every one of our coaches sells more real estate than the people they coach. It's not like Tom and Brian and those guys where their coaches don't even freaking sell real estate or sell very little real estate. Okay. If you're in tier one with us, you'll have a coach in tier two. If you're in tier two, your coach will be in tier three and so forth. Okay. If you're interested in more information about the one-on-one coach, and it's not cheap, I'm going to tell you right now, tier one is $847 a month. Tier two is $1397 a month. But here's the guarantee. Sign up for the coaching today. And if you don't actually make an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, we'll literally give you your money back. Those other guys won't do that. Why? Because their programs don't work well enough. They can't promise you that you're going to make that kind of money. We can. Okay. Why? Because we do it every year with our clients all the time. And nobody's ever asked me for their money back. Ever. Never. Think about this. And we put thousands of people through our program, names you'd recognize. Okay. All right. Now, I want to teach this last thing. Camille, am I forgetting to tell them about anything? One-on-one. Okay.
Help both
All right.
explain.
What's that?
Help both explain.
So the Club Wealth Explained call, yeah. So for those of you that would like to learn more about our one-on-one coaching program, type explain in the chat there, and you can just send it direct to Camille, or you can put it in the public chat. It's up to you. Type that in, and we'll make sure that we get you on that. We have a Club Wealth Explain call. It's a 30-minute call where we explain kind of what one-on-one's about. By the way, those of you, I noticed there's a couple of you that are with Homexa. Remember, Homexa will pay for half of your one-on-one coaching with Club Wealth. Okay, that's a very big deal. Take advantage of it. Okay. All right. That being said, grab a fresh sheet of paper, draw this on your paper. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. Now, the problem most of you are having, I'm going to teach you how to double your income right now. Okay. But the problem most of you guys are having is you're telling people what you charge. Stop doing that. Instead, you got to give them options. So write down basic, standard, premium. Okay, basic, standard, premium. Now, guys, some people call this essential, custom, premium, whatever. You can do it however you want. But watch this. Above basic, I want you to put down what is the lowest amount you would ever charge on the listing side. Okay, what percentage commission on the listing side. Okay, don't tell anybody else this. If you, and by the way, you can't teach this to anybody else. I can only teach this to you because I'm not a real estate agent today. Teaching this to somebody else would be a violation of the Sherman Antitrust Act. Okay, if you're a real estate agent. But watch this. I'm going to show you how to double your commissions by giving them options. So above basic, you write down what's the least I would charge. Like I'm not even putting your house on the MLS for less than that. Then skip over to premiums. Okay. All right, now watch this. What's the most you would ever charge? Put that above premium. Like I couldn't in good conscience charge you more than that. Put it above premium. Then come back to standard. And above standard, I want you to write down. Remember, this is listing side only. What do I really want to make? Okay. Now, I want that number to be double what you're currently charging. Okay. Because by charging them double, I'm telling you, it's going to be easier than you think. It's really not that hard. Okay. So I want to see that at least double, maybe at least 5%. You could charge more than that if you want. But and I've seen people charge 5, 6. I've even seen 7, 8, and 10% on the listing side only. Okay. So that being said, put that above standard. Then you got to fill out your menu. So, what are all the things that can be done to get this house sold, right? So, first of all, for basic, I might do MLS. I'll do one photo. I'll put a lockbox on the front door. Okay. I might put a sign out front, right? And then if I'm in Utah or the South, right, I'm going to pray and hope that somebody else sells it because Lord knows I'm not gonna, right? I know that sounds terrible, but that's most agents' marketing plan. Okay. So what else can be done? I might do open house times times one here. I might do open house times as many as it takes over here. I might do social media. I might do black and white flyers. Over here, I might do a brochure, a full color brochure. I might do pro pictures over here. I might do 3D, drone, floor plan. I might do staging. Okay, you get the point, right? There's so much you can do. Okay, and it's not just about what you put in your menu, it's about how you sell it. So let me show you how you're going to sell it. Okay, and you're going to watch this piece of the video over and over and over again because I'm telling you right now, when you learn to sell it, that's when you start making the big bucks. Okay, and by the way, when you're with Home Exit, they do this over and over and over again. I'm telling you guys, their conversion rates are off the charts on their listing appointments. Okay. All right. So watch this. So I'm going to say my seller's name is Susie. Okay. I always talk to Mrs. Seller. We'll go into that some other time. I don't have time to cover that today, but watch this. So I'm going to say, Susie, I love your house. Fantastic house. Great neighborhood. Great floor plan. You've taken great care of it. I'll be honest with you, Susie, I don't think you need that premium plan to get you top dollar for your home in the least amount of time with the least amount of headache to you. So if it's okay with you, should we just go ahead and cross that one off and put that money in your pocket instead? Fantastic. Okay, we'll cross that one off. Now, Susie, I'm a little concerned about the basic plan, and here's why. Because as we've discussed, the market is down 28 to 38% in year over year sales, depending on which neighborhood you're in. And I'm just not sure this basic plan is going to be enough to get you top dollar for your home in the least amount of time with the least amount of to you. So if it's okay with you, should we just go ahead and cross that one off too? Fantastic. Okay, we'll cross that one off too. Now, Susie, that leaves us with our standard plan right here. This is the plan that all my clients, just like you, go with. This is the plan that's going to get you the most amount of money in the least amount of time with the least amount of headache to you. Won't that be great? Fantastic. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? Great. Here's the property disclosure form. Now, if she gives me an objection at this point, likely it's going to simply be, Michael, will you cut your commission? No. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? Fantastic. Here's the property disclosure form, right? Now, if she asks me a second time, it'll usually come in the form of, but so and so said she would do it for X. Well, Susie, I'm really glad you brought that up. Let me ask you a question. If an agent's not strong enough to negotiate for their own commission, what makes you think they're going to be strong enough to negotiate for the price of your home? Exactly. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? Okay, fantastic. Here's the property disclosure form. Now, if she asks me a third time, it'll usually come like this. Michael, will you cut your commission? And I'll say, Susie, I'm really glad that you asked me that question again. As I've discussed, our commission, or so my houses sell on average for 5.25% more than the average in the marketplace. What that means is that even if I charge you a full 2% more than every other agent in our area, literally you're going to net 3.25% more with me than you will with anybody else. So what I got to ask you is, what's more important to you? How much I make or how much you make? Exactly. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? Fantastic. Here's the property disclosure form. Guys, I'm telling you right now, 93% of the time you'll get the listing. I've literally used that cadence on literally over 10,000 listing appointments with a 93.25% success, which means if they listed it with anybody, they listed it with me 93.25% of the time. Guys, I know you can do this. Why? Because I see it done all over the country. People are using this technique. All the stuff I've taught you today, people are doing this all over the country. It's working in every market, and it's especially working well right now with what's going on in the industry. This is the time. If you want to make more money than you've ever dreamed of, this is the time. All things are coming together to help you do even better than ever before. Guys, I highly recommend get signed up for our group coaching, get signed up for one-on-one coaching, join HomeX, come to our event, do something to engage with us, okay? We're not going to pressure you. You don't need to worry about that. It's not going to change my life if you sign up today or not, but it will change yours, okay? So are there any other questions before we wrap up today? I've got to get to a mastermind call with a bunch of our clients. So are there any other questions before we do that? And if you have any questions, type them into the chat right now. And I'd love to answer your questions. I can take just a few minutes. Ron is handling the call right now for me. So I can take just a few minutes to answer a couple of questions for you. Anyone? No one's got any questions? Or are you just typing feverishly, hoping you can get it out first? Well, I appreciate that. That was very nice of you to say that. Thank you very, very much. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all being on today. I hope you have an awesome, awesome day. And if you have not done so already, make sure you send Camille your contact information. We'll reach out to you and we'll see which of those things you'd like us to help you out with. If you do nothing else, make absolutely sure that you get signed up for that HomeX Explain call, guys. Instead of us just teaching you how to do everything, which we're happy to do if you'd like us to just to do that. If you'd like someone that's going to hold your hand and that's going to walk side by side with you and that's going to help you do a lot of the stuff, guys, get on that HomeX Explain call. Have an awesome day, everybody. Take care.
Club Wealth is the only coaching company on the planet that will literally guarantee that you will double your income or make at least an extra $100,000 your first year coaching with us, or we will give you 100% of your investment back. Click the link below, sign up for the appropriate tier level, and let's get you a strategy session today. And I promise you, I 100% guarantee you, promise you that you will walk away with a heart full of gratitude for the time that we took for you because you got so much value out of that call. Schedule your strategy session today. I promise you'll be glad you did.